Well, hello there, spooks and ghouls and girls and boys. It's been a time ago, yes I know. Anyway, I'm the Halloween 78 slasher, and I'm here to read you a little bedtime story. Anyway, so I decided to read a little story I wrote that I also put into my little book of horror. So, let's delve into the creeps, shall we? This story is called The Door Which Do Not Enter. It was 5 o'clock, and a man was sitting in a bus, listening to the radio that was above him in the bus roof. On the radio, they were talking about economics and that kind of random shit. And then, the weather came up in talk. There was silence in the bus, awfully silent, and the other ones in the bus were mostly in the dark. Speaking of, they didn't have the roof lights on. Not even the bus driver said a word. Interesting indeed, don't you think? It was already dark outside, probably because it was January. Strange, shouldn't we be away already? The man was thinking to himself. As he looked aside, he saw the arch-lady had fallen asleep. She was the one who often likes to draw stuff on the bus. As the man looked, she dropped the pen she was holding, and it fell on the floor, making the bus driver react to the noise. The man had now risen himself and was walking towards the bus. Was walking towards the bus door and said to the driver, "I thought I'd go for a walk, but it won't be for too long," he said, and the driver said, "Okay then, well I have to wait for some students to appear before we can leave, so then do it," he said, and changed position with his one arm. The man walks outside and goes through a dark park. The man walks and looks around. The chilly wind blows towards him, making noises with the trees. Then he passes by an old church, slowly appearing in the darkness. As the man looks at it, a church with pitch black windows, but then a flash of candlelight was seen, and the man got curious, because he knew that the church from before, it was an old abandoned church that no one has been in for at least 28 years. There was a shadowy beer can lying on the ground next to the church. The man walked the stairs up to the entrance. It was unlocked, and he steps into the church. More curious, and it was dark inside. He walks away slowly from the hall and says, "Anyone here? I saw some light and thought I was wondering what you were doing." No one answers as he walks into the holy hall and passing the altar in darkness, with only some light from the windows. To get some light, he pulls up his phone and pushes on the flashlight. and starts to walk. Then he stepped on a piece of wood, lying on the floor, and it made a crack sound. The man nearly got scared, but continues his path. As he walks into another room, there was squeaking. And then the entrance doors smashed. And then it was this weird noise, like when you lock a door. The man felt a bit of fear encouraging his bones. Now it was that squeaking noise again, but this time it stopped as it began. The man almost dropped his phone as he looks up, only to see a corpse covered in cobweb and was hanging from a rope, like the person that was hanged. The person that has hanged himself. The man looked frightened at the hanging corpse that suddenly dropped loose right on the man. And the man fell down with the corpse over him. The man screamed and rose with his phone and ran away through the darkness. Run away quick! Better run away little quick. He runs away into the darkness of the church. The sound of pounding on doors stopped the man. As he stopped, then another corpse was discovered as it fell out on the floor from some kind of closet. And then another corpse fell down onto the floor, reaching out with one hand against the man's foot. This one was bony and covered by dust on his back. The man was shocked, and panic takes in on him. Things happened, and it was almost as if the corpse tried to rise itself and moaned heavily. The man were now terrified, and his hand was shaking, with the phone in his hand, and he took some steps back, and he tried to escape the hellish place he was in for the moment. Sure, it was a hellish place at the moment. But there was no escape in sight, and the man runs further, and by accident hit right into a locked door. The man turned around, a bit whimsy now. He runs another way, through another open hall, and he stops. Suddenly, lights were turned on in that hall. And revealed something awful that was hiding above in the dark. Over 40 corpses hanging in ropes, and these were fully dressed and also covered in dust. The man was looking up and wasn't believing what he saw, and ran back very frightened right now. He ran up for some stairs he saw, opened the door and ran down to some cellar room. When the man came down, he came to a church room, much worse than any other of the rooms he seen earlier. This one really shook his bones. This room was sure much worse. It was that room in the cellar. He had found a whole bunch of dead people, cut open, and then they have all been sewed back, but with doll parts. And yes, it looked very creepy. 2 male corpses were sitting and posed like they were played on an old piano, and with cobwebs all over them. The man screamed as he has never seen anything like it. And then he runs away. He runs away back to the stairs and is back in the hall. There was a light bulb glowing, and the man was walking through the hall trying to find an exit. But instead he finds another room with a bit of light glowing. The man comes into the room and now his heartbeat increases significantly. He is terrified as he discovers some really old corpses. An old lady corpse sitting in some kind of kitchen, dusty as hell, and then he finds the priest. Not so much alive, I'm afraid. It seems like he died to his eating. Being on his last meal. And there was some blood pools on the floor, slowly drying out. This was the moment where the man's heart was beating fast. He was sweaty and scared to his bones, and then runs as fast as he could back to the entrance. But then there were noises of what sounded like people gathering. Gathering in the church, and the man peeks out in fear to see the whole holy hall now crowded with corpses. People of death, sitting on the benches, growling and moaning. The man ran towards the entrance. He quickly locked up the doors and ran outside to the bus. He pounds on the bus door and goes in. "You gotta call the police! I seen fucked up shit. You wouldn't believe me. Quick, you gotta come outside. I'll show you." The man said with panic, and the bus driver goes out with him to take a look. Even true, he believed the man gone crazy. As the bus driver and the man steps into the church, they discover nothing. They check the rooms and the halls that the man have seen, but nothing was there. Just an empty, silent church. The bus driver didn't know what to think. Neither did the man. The church was all empty. The man ran into the kitchen room again, just to check. Nothing was there. Not even the blood spills or the pools was seen anymore. The bus driver looks at the man like he's nuts. And the man explains, "But I was there. I saw it. But I did see it with my own eyes," he said. As the bus driver walks away from the church, now and outside. He walks away from the church and back to his bus. The man was innerly confused. He did see it. Yes, he did. Or did he see it? What was it really he saw? The man looked at the halls again and again, and then he moved towards the entrance. But he saw it, right? Or was he going insane? The man walks out and closes the entrance doors, now looking outside of them. Then he locks them for good. He closes the doors, locks them from inside and walks away in the darkness of the park. Back to the bus. He turns around and looks at the church one more time. But nothing was there. Nothing. And he goes back into the bus and sits down. The bus radio is still going. Alfred is still asleep. There was one candle glowing in the dark inside the old church. In the hall, as the wind blows the candlelight out and paints the halls pitch black again. Well, that was the door which do not enter. So remember, if you go into an old haunted church that's not been moved for centuries, be careful, because you never know what you will find in the dark. Well, anyway, thank you. This has been Halloween 78 left here with some spookable stories for you. And there will eventually be more. We'll see. Until next time, take care and be careful. Bye bye.